Hey everybody, I'm Jake Heavy Metal, and today I'm going to be discussing the Endgame and the movie Black Widow, starring, thank God, uh, Scarlett Johansson. But before we get into that, big Endgame spoilers in 5. Alright, everybody has, I'm pretty sure most people has seen Endgame, and we're all pretty much stoked for the new movie Black Widow. But what I'm going to be discussing is the snap that Professor Hulk uses to try and bring back Natalie Romanoff, Black Widow. And it even proves that when he talks to Steve Rogers, he even says, "I tried to bring her back, Steve. I really tried." So technically, he was really trying to bring her back. Now, it did take him a long time to snap his fingers. So maybe that was him concentrating really hard. A lot of people's talked about that, about how long it took him to snap his fingers. So maybe he was really concentrating really hard to do that, to try and bring her back, considering the idea that it is death and she did sacrifice herself for the Soul Stone. So the Professor Hulk, Bruce Banner, which she didn't know was going to be doing it in the first place, was trying to save her or get the stone so the Professor Hulk could snap his fingers and bring everybody else back. So that was a noble sacrifice. But we saw the death of Black Widow, Natalie Romanoff. Personally, that made me angry. I hated that part. Oh, I really wanted to see Natalie Romanoff take the fight, join the army the Avengers, with all the Avengers, and take the fight to Thanos' army. And even give him a couple of good licks on that big ass chin of his. I really wanted to see that. But unfortunately, we didn't get to see that. We saw her unfortunate death, which I have to say, considering what she was dying for, that's a noble sacrifice. But it still angered us. Of course, this is the character that we have for, like, what I think I said in the other video, it was like 10 something years we've been watching Black Widow, Natalie Romanoff, and we've loved the character, we've enjoyed the character, and then all of a sudden, when everything climaxes, the story is to its end, we see her fall. I felt cheated, in a lot of ways. But then again, I haven't read the actual comic book, so I wouldn't really know. Um, Sadly, I wouldn't know. But it felt like we got cheated when we saw that. So, but the snap, think back to the snap. We're going back to Professor Hulk's snap. Now, we all know that when Thanos snapped his fingers, he destroyed half of all living creatures in the universe. That means on all the other planets, because, see, before Thanos was trying to wipe out each individual planets, like half of everybody on each individual alien planet, including Earth. That was his goal. And he was actually supposedly trying to get the stones, I guess, to make it easier to do that. Because, like Gamora said, he could snap his fingers and half of everything would be gone and destroyed in the universe. So, I didn't really understand that a whole lot, because I figured if you snapped your fingers with the gauntlet, you destroy half of everything. But maybe it's more like a concentration thing, kind of like you got this powerful gauntlet, and well, maybe if I snap my fingers, I could get like an ice cream or a cheeseburger or whatever. It's something like that simple. So maybe that's why with Professor Hulk, when he snapped his fingers and did what he did, he was trying to bring back Natalie. Say, maybe that's what it was. But unfortunately, we didn't get to see Natalie. at all. We didn't get to see Black Widow. We don't know if she's around. But my fan theory is what if he did bring back Natalie? Now, going to the Black Widow movie, I don't necessarily know. I've never actually, whatever story that they made to bring into the Black Widow story, I don't know if that is like, if that's a 100% true story, because sometimes Hollywood does mix and match stuff. We all know that from like the other Avengers movies and the Iron Man movies and the Thor movies, supposedly, from what I've heard. But I haven't read these comic books, so I wouldn't know. But from what I've seen from the video or from the movies and so of social media, I've heard that they don't exactly put everything in there that is. So maybe they did some, maybe they changed something in there. If they did, shame on them. But the thing of it is, we don't really know. As far as now, I do know in the Black Widow movie, we see her supposedly reuniting, and I'm not going to tell you anything more than, I mean, practically, I don't know anything more than what the trailer suggests. But on Instagram, they've only showed her reuniting with what appears to be her family, her father, maybe her sister, and I don't think it suggests that she has a mother. I don't think so. But there is this big guy in a red like leather outfit with a white star on the front and a cool red hat. Okay, not like mine though. This is a Yuletide hat, by the way. But anyway, it does show that. So I'm guessing that's her father, maybe her uncle, but I'm assuming it's her father. And they bring him in like she's having a family reunion, and that's pretty cool. The trailer's awesome, by the way. It looks like there's a lot of fighting. There's a lot of, just cool stuff. Pretty much what you would expect for Black Widow to be a high flying, person taking people on. That's what you would expect for Black Widow, Natalie Romanoff. And it seems like there is, a true, real story there. And plus, in the video, it actually talks about how, and this is what I don't really get, okay? First, you take it from Endgame. So it's like, or first, like you, after Endgame, you have that movie which she falls to her death, sadly, the Soul Stone, and that's another thing too. I don't know if I should do another video on that or not, but I'll try to make it quick. Basically, the Soul Stone is ascendant or sentient, which means it's a living thing. Okay. Now, in the comics, in the Marvel comics, it talks about how Adam Warlock got trapped in the Soul Stone, but he was able to actually connect and talk with the Soul Stone. And basically, the Soul Stone is a place. It's kind of like a heavenly place where everybody's in, joy and wonder, and they're not in any pain. And it's kind of, it's kind of like that, like a heavenly place. Um, I've researched some of the Soul Stone, some of it, but not a whole lot. But basically, what it is Adam Warlock got trapped in the Soul Stone. I'm not exactly sure how. I can't remember that. But somehow he was able to connect with them, and somehow able to connect with the other Infinity Stones and get out. I don't know how that happened, but he was able to get out. So that tells you right there that there is a possibility that Black Widow, Natalie Romanoff, could escape or could be brought out and brought back to the world or to the universe even. And then brings up another thing, or what I'm actually talking about. Was she brought back? They never really clarify that. That's like not even brought out in the open. They just basically have her fall to her death, sadly, and then the Soul Stone appears. And then Hawkeye, don't know his name, can't remember. I think it's Renner, something like that. They bring him back, and then he says, he just looks, there's like, I think Steve says, where's Natalie? And he just has this really like gloomy face, something happened, as well as they did. And then they go on about the business, trying, with this great loss and pain, trying to go and finish this, because I mean, hey, she died. She needs to be honored by everybody getting brought back. I mean, that's why she sacrificed herself for. And, and then they, in the movie, pretty much around that area, but they never really discuss, that like the end game, there's no actual scene where like she's brought back or any kind of theme or nothing, because I don't think there's even a cut scene or whatever they call them where they show like another scene that may lead to another movie. They don't show that, so obviously we don't know what really happens afterwards. All we know is we see her death, and then we see the soul stone, and then it's themed that maybe her soul is in the soul stone, because technically that's the name of the stone anyway. And as we know, like I said, Adam Warlock, he was able to escape the Soul Stone somehow. And look that up, guys, because that's pretty cool too. Somehow he gets out of there. I don't remember, but he's able to connect with the Soul Stone somehow, and able to connect and manipulate the other stones and get out of it. I think he actually had help from the outside, because I think he manipulated the stones and was able to communicate with somebody else outside or something like that. I can't really remember, but look it up. It's really cool. But anyway, going back to that, they don't really never tell you whether or not she's been brought back. But my theory is what if she actually did? What if she actually was brought back by Professor Hulk, Bruce Banner? What if? Because when he snapped his fingers, I mean, maybe she didn't come back within the vicinity. Maybe she didn't come back even in the state that they were in. But what if he made her come back, like in a different country, like China, Japan, Russia, And that's what makes me think that maybe this next Black Widow movie, maybe that ties in to her past somehow. Like maybe when he did the snap, maybe he brought her back, but maybe her mind's been wiped clean of the Avengers, of all that. Pretty cool idea. It's definitely worth something to think about. Maybe I said that wrong. It's definitely something to think about, because if you notice the Infinity Gauntlet, I mean, Infinity Gauntlet, obviously, I mean, that's the name of it. So when you tie that in there, it can do anything. So what if Professor Hulk, Bruce Banner, did that and boom? Because if you remember in the very last, sadly again, Tony Stark does the same exact thing when he brings everybody back, okay, and destroys all, well, not brings everybody back. Sorry, Professor Hulk did that. But when he destroys all of Thanos' army, okay, what if Professor Hulk brought Natalie back? Because if you remember, Tony Stark supposedly broke a hole. Oh yeah, and I forgot to mention Spider-Man Far From Home. Spoiler alert. In the spoiler alert, oh yeah, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Spoiler alert on Spider-Man Far From Home. If you remember, I think it's Nick Fury tells Spider-Man, Peter Parker, sorry about that, guys. He tells him that somehow Tony Stark, when he snapped his fingers, he opened or cracked a hole, I think in the multiverse, bringing out those Titans, those elemental Titans, I think it was. I've had to watch a lot of these movies quick and fast, so any knowledge that I can produce is gargantuan. So, from my brain. So, but I have to watch them pretty fast because of deadlines. But basically, he opens and cracks a hole in the multiverse, I believe it is, which brings in these elemental Titans. Which, of course, if you've all seen the movie, which I hope you have, spoiler alert again, you know what happens, and there's a big fight and all that. But basically, you know, if Tony can do that with a snap of the gauntlet, the Infinity Gauntlet, who's to say Professor Hulk, when he snapped his fingers, he didn't bring back Natalie Romanoff, Black Widow? Something to think about, you know? I mean, and Tony Stark wasn't even trying to put a hole in the multiverse. He was just trying to take, well, from what Doctor Strange was saying, he was just basically trying to take out all, like, defeat Thanos, take out all his army and Thanos both, which, from what we saw, he did. He took out everybody, you know. But still, again, you know, all the other stuff aside, still, guys, I really wanted to see Natalie take it to Thanos. I mean, just beat the crap out of Thanos. I mean, yeah, he's a lot bigger, a hell of a lot tougher. I mean, it literally took Tony Stark, and this is another reason why. I mean, Steve Rogers, Thor. I mean, hell, even with Steve Rogers with his strength, he still was able to really take a good one to Thanos. But Natalie Romanoff, I wish they would have let her, you know, go up against Thanos, put a couple of good notches in that big ass chin of his. I really wished. I mean, that would have been so cool. I mean, every one of the other Avengers got to fight him, you know, or maybe not fight him per se. I think it was only Tony Stark, Steve Rogers, and Thor, which actually took it to him. And then, of course, there was Scarlet Witch. If I'm not remembering, people, let me know in the comments below. By the way, I'm always happy to hear what other people's thinking about the movie, or if I may have missed something, because again, I do have to watch these movies fast. I have to, sometimes I take notes and whatnot. I think about it, you know, up in my computer and all that. But anyway, what was I saying? Oh yeah. But yeah, it just seems like that they would have changed that. I mean, I really wish they would have, man. I mean, that was a bummer. She gets like, she dies in like, and it really wasn't even half the movie that I know of. Well, it was actually a 3-hour film, I think, technically. So yeah, I Love You 3000. So it was like actually a 3-hour film. So I'm gonna say probably within like an hour and a half, she dies, you know, and then they gotta go through that whole thing, something like that, go through the whole thing, and then at the very end. But yeah, I think it's Scarlet Witch. Oh yeah, and she and Captain Marvel, which again, that was cool too. I liked the Captain Marvel thing. Oh, there's another one too. I don't know if you guys think, I'll probably do another video with this later, but if you ever notice when Captain Marvel, and if you guys, oh boy, we're at 18 minutes. I'll try to make this quick. If you remember, in the Marvel comics, I'm pretty sure it is in there, there is a weapon called the Heart of the Universe, which is where you basically use the gauntlet. You have the gauntlet on, and I guess you connect with the gauntlet in a certain way or manner, and you become one with it. If you're one with it, you cannot get hurt or hit by any means. No matter what kind of damage that you have, like if you got a Thor's hammer or any kind of like heavy weapon, you cannot destroy the person wearing the gauntlet. The damage does not exist. It doesn't hit. When you have the what does they call it? The Heart of the Universe. When you have that, you cannot take a damage from anything or anybody. Supposedly in the Marvel comics, you can. And if you remember, when Captain Marvel flew down there and grabbed the gauntlet from Thanos, she was absorbing the power of the gauntlet. But if you remember, even when Thanos had the gauntlet, he could get hit. He could get smacked by it. I think even Tony once, he's the one who did it. He hit Thanos with the with that, I can't remember, with that repulsor thing or whatever, and he actually drew blood from Thanos. It was a drop of blood, like Thanos said, but still, a big giant creature like him getting hit by Tony Stark. I mean that's incredible, guys. And drawing blood actually to Thanos. I mean, you would think that was impossible since he's, I think, isn't he like a somewhat of an eternal? I think like half an eternal, half Titan, half eternal, something like that. I think it's in the Marvel comic book. But it's pretty amazing that he's what he is, but Tony was still able to draw blood. But yet, Captain Marvel absorbing the energy from the Infinity Stones. And if you notice, kind of like with the Thor and the hammer, or with Steve Rogers and the hammer, you just barely see the hammer pull up. And then Steve, like, kind of stops and just acts like he's trying to lift it. So he's, you know, and there's been a lot of question about that. But anyway, going back to the heart of the universe, if you ever notice that Captain Marvel is actually, when Thanos goes to go boom and do a headbutt, if you ever notice, it's as if he doesn't damage her at all. You don't even really hear much of anything. You just hear like a, and that's it. She don't go backwards. She don't act like she takes damage. Nothing at all. I mean, did she tap into the heart of the universe even without having the actual gauntlet on, just by touching it? Now that's some cool shit. And but the only way he could actually damage her that I could see, because if you notice, he really did. He head butted her, you know, boom, flesh to flesh, you know, and he wasn't able to do anything. Even he looked at her and he's like, you know, with a certain type of expression, like, what the hell? And then that's when he realized he has to take the Power Stone out of the gauntlet, and then boom, which, you know, is a pretty good idea. I mean, you know, and then of course that's when Tony Stark sees it, and then Doctor Strange, as in one chance in like 15 million, I think it is, 14 million or something. He goes over there, takes the stones, and boom, he's got them. So, but yeah, I know I probably went off a little bit course, but I get into this stuff. I like to share my passion with people of this kind of stuff, the cosmic astronomy type of shit, you know, outer space stuff. But yeah, the heart of the universe, it really seemed like she actually did, you know, at least tap into the heart of the universe when she did that. But unfortunately, Thanos found something that she didn't, and you know, at least she'll know better next time. If anything, if they make any other movies, she'll remember that next time. But yeah, like I said, Professor Hulk and Professor Hulk, Bruce Banner, snapping his fingers like Tony did. What if he really did bring Natalie Romanoff back? What if that ties into the movie Black Widow? I don't know, you know, but, and I'm really glad to present this video because I've seen a lot of other videos. I've seen a lot of other videos out here. I didn't get a chance to do this with Endgame, but because I was really busy with other things. But I'm proud to bring out this video because at least, you know, that movie is going to be happening like in 2020, and this is 19. So I'm finally getting this one out before it comes out, and I'm able to actually talk about it a little bit beforehand. But that is pretty cool. I mean, what if he really did bring her back? You know, it brings up a lot of questions. But I hope I didn't forget anything because I hate making a really long video, which we're already at 24 minutes. So I'm going to end it right here. But it's, you know, a lot of what if situations, you know. What if Captain Marvel did tap into the heart of the universe by using her powers to absorb the gauntlet and then, you know, trying to become one with the gauntlet? What if, you know, Professor Hulk really did bring Natalie Romanoff back, Bruce Banner? What if he did? Because like I said, Tony did make a crack into the multiverse when he did the snap. So, of course, you gotta think, Tony Stark was pretty pissed. I mean, he kind of realized, I think in the end, he kind of realized he was gonna die. You know, sadly, he was gonna die, and that would piss me off. So that's why he kind of had that face, and then he says, "I am Iron Man." And, and then, boom, Thanos sits down, he looks around, everybody's gone, turning to dust, and then that's when he turns into dust, and it's all over. And then we really never hear nothing about whether um, Natalie's back or not, or whether, because of the Soul Stone or whatnot. But something to think about. I mean, it never shows nothing at the end of the end credits, whether she's actually been brought back or anything suggesting anything like that. So maybe it'll be in the movie Black Widow. I don't know. But anyway, enough said. I thank you so much for watching. I appreciate your time. Have a good day. And Merry Christmas.